Right, click the links to join the channel here over at SubScribestar. You know, this Allison or Alyssa Mercante chick, I kind of hope she's not listening because she is not playing with a full deck. You can scroll through her social media posts and you're like, this is quirky, eclectic, eccentric, and kind of cute. And oh no, you seem mentally deranged like so many other leftists. So, failed EIC of the Escapist, I guess that's editor-in-chief, isn't that a flower? Accuses Mark Kern of being a fraud. Well, we shall see what we shall see. Gamers rise up. Gamers most oppressed. Kotaku's revenge. Is Kotaku going to be around a few years from now? Press F to doubt. The thing is, these people are all a bunch of mentally ill degenerates, to the point where you might not have been able to say that 20 years ago, 15 years ago, but it's a self-selecting group where they only hire each other and they fire the other. So it's like this Comicsgate was a window into a world of the people behind the scenes of comics, and it seemed like they just get people out of the industry like EVS, more normal types, Mike Miller, Doug TenNapel types who are, the spectrum of, I don't know, political opinions of whatnot, people who are in the middle or right of center. They just winnow those people out of various industries. And it seems like games, obviously like Hollywood, it's been known, but comics, I guess, used to be a little bit more balanced. Maybe games used to be a lot more balanced because the people who get into them usually going to be Euro or Asian males who are going to be a little bit more conservative or at least apolitical. And what they do is, it's like silicon-rich waters flowing through an old piece of wood that gets covered over by mud, and it just replaces the carbon with silicon one by one. There's, I think, 4 valence electrons in each one. And next thing you know, you look at this industry and you're like, it's all a bunch of whack. It's like they show the picture of a comic book company or a video game company when it starts, and it's like 6 guys, two white guys or Asian guys, and then the rest. It's some kind of mix, right? But it's all men. And then 10 years later, after it's made ton of money, you look at it and it's like 200 people, and over half of them are chicks, and it's just way too heavy in human resources type of stuff. The nonsense into running a company. I mean, running a company into a grave. And then you see that the people who are making this stuff work are kind of off in the basement type of thing. All he wanted was a stapler. So first of all, these weirdos hate you. And they only view video games as useful tools to spread their insanely lame worldview. Yes, they're the real racists the whole time. And who's that guy? Grummy guy. He's on Twitter. He's pointing out how hateful these people are. And they really are the most hateful people on earth. And right now, it's allowed for them to hate Christians and people of European descent in general, especially men of mostly Western European, because the media has told them that this is the target of they are racist, but this is the target you can take that hatred out. And I was thinking, if you wanted to turn them around to get them to hating another group of people, you could turn them around against the trans community, for example. And it would take like 3 years of just controlling the narrative, shifting the narrative. And 3 years from now, you would have them talking about trans or Jews or blacks or whatever you wanted to, the same way they talk about people of European descent now. It would just take a few years. It's like that's how open-minded they are, that anything can go in there because they don't have any founding dogma. They don't have anything that they adhere to. It's just whatever the herd goes. And if the herd wants to turn against trans people, like it feels like there is a little bit of energy in that direction. And I mean, now the war between those two countries, off in that warm sandy area, it's like you've seen a little kind of division in the left, which is so sweet to watch these people tear each other apart. Anyway, the thing is, these are all very, very hateful people. And if you give them an outlet to hate, that's where they outlet. Like, these are vehemently racist people as, who's that black guy? David Duke's not the black guy, is he? Who's that other black guy? Farrakhan? Just a super, super focused person whose just life is just incandescent hatred within him. But this is the one safe outlet. And you could switch it. Like, if you wanted to switch it to Chinese people, it would take a few years, and you could definitely do it. I mean, they're trying to do it to Russians for some reason. They're not shy about their hatred. The thing is, they're only in games to replace the beautiful blonde people with obese POC, pox, walks, furry, trans, otherkin type of characters. Like, what did that chick say? It's like, I did it with my mind. Cringe. Nobody wants that kind of stuff. And as it turns out, pox, walks women are not playing video games. They're not buying comics, and they're not really driving movie sales. Pretty rare. So what happened is gamers noticed how gay, diverse, and lame their games have become, where the games were, I said a lot of hot words in this video. I kind of wish I hadn't said that now. Where the games were more focused on globalist propaganda and not the games. Gamers don't want race-swapped characters. They want blonde dudes who look like Conan. Instead they're ending up with Grace Jones, who, don't get me wrong, now that I think about it, did a great job in those movies. What was that? Conan 1, and then Destroyer was a sequel, and then Red Sonja was, I guess, the kind of a third movie in that. Anyway, so this guy started noticing that the propaganda was coming from a cringe company, who was just one of many, called Sweet Baby. And he made a list of Sweet Baby, and he called it Sweet Baby Detected, so people could save their money and avoid the garbage. And he's not the first one to make this list, but for some reason, a lot of attention was shown on him. And that's kind of where the S hit the fan. You would think that they'd be fine with taking credit for woke games, but they panicked and they demanded his head on a pike. All he did was help the consumer make informed decisions, which is, what's happening in the media in general lately has been really interesting to watch. It was the media and social media and games, because the narrative isn't one way anymore, because social media and cell phones have finally reached, as much saturation as it's going to reach. And that is the new town square now, public forum. Things have turned into a dialogue, and that pisses off those who used to control it, because they were more comfortable with a monologue, a hierarchy, instead of a massively parallel network, which is what we're having now with different nodes of different intensity. Every once in a while, these left-wing Soros-funded groups will publish like a map of hate, and they'll show Tim Pool and Cernovich and whoever, like just the most normie, milquetoast, boring, like Alex Jones and this map of hatred. And you look at them like, what planet are you people on? Because what happens now is you have all these alt media sources that are able to point out how biased the mainstream media is, that these Larry Fink parasites are all pushing hatred, and it's important to point it out so we can change it. Guys, I need $30,000 for a Discord. No, a Discord doesn't cost $30,000. It's free. What was that chick's name? Anita Sarkeesian? Yeah, you just open up a Discord account. Or Telegram's even more based. Oh, okay, guys, I need $30,000 for blowing hookers. Is it? It's not going to happen. So the mainstream media is firing hundreds of people every year simply because they're so far left-wing biased that the alt media is able to come in and destroy and replace them. You see this populist consumer movement rise up with things like Comicsgate, Phantom Menace, and the Combrutus. He's the guy who started the Sweet Baby Incorporated, and then this other guy, Grums. And I mean, there's a bunch of people who are in on this. And there's Sweet Baby Incorporated is not the only, I don't know what they call it, consulting company. Consulting company is kind of a scam that not Farrakhan, who's this other black guy, would do stuff like he'd go to Ford Motor Companies and be like, I need $40,000 a year to be a consultant to make sure that your unions stay calm and peaceful. It's a nice building. It'd be a shame if it burned down, fire insurance type of stuff. And he would go in there and it was like all the parasites who were around Jesse Jackson at the time came out and just became these kind of blackmailing consultant types to keep the unions in line. It was just $50,000 a year to have them. And now, I mean, that was decades ago. Now they do it with Schwab and Fink's DEI type of stuff, or ESG. It's just all 1984 Orwellian good think type of social credit score. Like the Chinese came out with the social credit score, and people were supposed to be horrified about that concept, and instead they're busily taking notes like, no, Animal Farm is supposed to be a warning. Anyway, so the thing is, the heavy-handed games, movies, and comics are now getting feedback, and the audience is not supporting them, which is great because the consumer is right and not interested in globalist woke propaganda at all. And, heaven forbid this guy shills his game. I shill for stuff all the time. Guys, hashtag somebody send me a monitor stat. I had 2 flat screens, and apparently neither one of them now work. Like, how do they just die if they're just sitting there? Anyway, so people are not into this kind of stuff because the consumer is right. And the consumer is just not into globalist woke propaganda from the, Alyssa Mercante types who are running cover at Kotaku magazine when they're not busy making guides for games. What the hell a game? So look at these people and they're like, so wait, we have to play the games? And weren't the journalists the ones who wanted simpler games or shorter games? And the journalists out there are like, yeah, we need like shorter games. And people are going, the games cost $70 or whatever. They want the longest game possible, more bang for their buck. And the journalists just want the easiest. Why are you in games journalism at all? Because they're there to run cover. The Alyssa Mercante is to run cover for the Sweet Baby Incorporated type of people, so they can continue to race swap and put whatever, the kind of gay agenda type of stuff in the games. So the thing is, the more important question, and it's not just for games, it's for everything in these big companies, is why do these companies keep pushing something that is losing them money? What is this new globalist religion that controls these corporations? That, people are finally starting to kind of look at this and go, none of this is making sense. I mean, eventually it will. And then, it'll all make sense soon enough. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.